Give us a humble brag about something you got going on, about something you've had to overcome.
Can you guys hear me? My name is Harmony White. I'm currently youth leader of the Freedom Project. I am 16 years old, and I have been helping others in my community with, like, feeling like they have a safe space within Freedom Project. We do our programs and then things like that. Hi, my name is Amia. I'm a part of Freedom Project as well. I'm a mentor there, helping other young youth. Kind of the same thing.
Hi, my name is Lumia. I'm an executive board member at Progress Pushers, and I've been working with them on bringing more programs to the youth that are focused for environment.
Hi, my name is Melody Slaughter. I'm 19 years old. I have been involved in community for a long time. Remember, back protesting, community outreach events, and so much more. I have my own nonprofit, Roots and Rise, centered around community creativity and outreach for young Black women. And more recently, I served as a youth ambassador for change, part of the King County Regional Office of Violence Prevention, where we came up with our own legislative policy agenda to end the disease of gun violence.
Hi, my name is Olu Dixon, and my humble brag is that I have a business that actively gives back to Black youth. Yeah. And then what I've overcome is the feeling of being separated, or like separation, and then I'll get more into that with other questions.
Yeah, hello, I'm Diego. I'm part of the Youth Action Coalition. My humble brag is I've been doing this work for the last 4 years, and I've always opened my mouth to advocating for juvenile justice reform. And kind of listening to what I've had to overcome is, growing up, I spoke English and Spanish at the same time, so people could only understand what I said like 75% of the time. But now, I'm talking clearly in front of a group of people, so I'm proud about that.
Okay, Harmony, Amia, and Melody, what was it like growing up with a parent that was incarcerated? And how has that shaped your relationship with your parents? And how has it inspired you?
Growing up with a parent who is still currently incarcerated was definitely difficult. It has its challenges, but it also has its benefits. It teaches you to become more independent and more strong face. You have to put on a strong face when, especially because sometimes people make fun of you for it, like, oh, your dad in prison, it's like silly, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it helps you become a better person, but it has its moments where it's difficult not having that parental figure in your life and not being able to, oh, like, I want to talk to my dad, and it's like, I can only talk to him when he can call me on the phone. So it has its benefits and its disadvantages. And I think it's made me closer to my mother, in a sense, because she played both roles growing up, and currently still plays both roles. So it's brought me closer to my mother, but it's also made me sad not having a father, but it's made me stronger. Having an incarcerated father has most definitely put a toll on me a little bit. I think having somebody who's not there to kind of show you the father's point of view is most definitely hard. You have to kind of figure out how to move with a bunch of different things, especially when it comes to relationships, because you kind of look at that your father, not look at that as your father, but yeah.
I like to piggyback on what both said. It definitely has its challenges, but also is inspiring as well. Just growing up with a single mom household is kind of difficult. Watching my mom have to take on 2 jobs or work all the time because my dad's not there to help and support in that way. And then also not being able to have that relationship and build that relationship, or at least we're building it over the phone and 15-minute calls, and that's not enough time to get to know someone. that was kind of difficult. But it also is inspiring because he's now out 1 year, and just watching like him overcome all of the issues and emotional trauma and things that he faced in there is inspiring to watch.
Thank you. Diego and Olu, what challenges and experiences did you face growing up, and how has that shaped you?
Very cool. So to go more into feeling separated, I was homeschooled up until like high school. So like I always wanted to go to public school. I thought that was like the coolest thing. So I grew up facing that. My mom put me in a lot of like extracurriculars. So I was like, even though I didn't go to a certain school, I'd be like on the basketball team or like stuff like that. So that was nice. How I overcame that was by whenever I'm in the area, like talking to people that served me well, especially in the times that we're in right now. A lot of people are kind of scared to talk to each other. It's super weird, but that's where I excel. So that taught me a lot. And then I went to Africa when I was younger, like 10 years old. I went for like 3 weeks. It was amazing. It was Kenya, Nairobi, and Kisumu. Yeah, it's pretty fire. So what I learned from that trip was I saw a lot of black people working together. I went to the Sticks. It was crazy over there, super nice. Like everybody was just like on one page. There's a group called One Africa, I think that's what it's called, Africa One, something like that. And it just really showed me like black unity. So then when I came back to Seattle, seeing that as a young person, I wanted to like mimic that in a way here in Washington, especially since we're like 4% of the population. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I'm a low-income youth, and I grew up in Redmond, and if anyone knows anything about Redmond, it is very expensive there. So I went to school with really rich kids, and so a lot of my youth was being low income, with being lower class, speaking really good English, and I had really poor grades, I think, because of that, and because of just my home at life, like my life at home, and led to me into trouble a lot in school, and basically I was able to overcome that, and that shaped me, I think, to be like an advocate, because I was able to overcome it with people who believed in me. I think a critical points in my time with people who said like, like you can be smart, you can go out and do things. So people just saw me as better than what I was or what I thought I was. And so now I'm doing it in school, yeah, I think that really, and the opportunities given to me in high school, because now I'm in college, of like being a leader. Like I was the president of the Latino club at my school, and being able to help people, I think through that really showed me like my potential. And so, I'm here to, advocate for people on the state scale.
Thank you. This next question is for any of the panelists. Do you feel like kids that have an incarcerated parent are more likely to be incarcerated? And why or why not? And multiple people can answer if they want.
I talk about this a lot, and I feel like when people go through hardships in life, it's up to them and their work ethic on how they turn out. So you can either look at it as, this is what I've known growing up, this is the example that I had, this is what I'm going to follow. Or you can put in the work and you can say, this is what I see and this is what I didn't want to be like.
I would have to say I agree with her. I feel like it's all about the path that you continue to choose after what you've seen within your community and the people within your community, especially when it comes to family. So when you look at the example, like, I don't want to live that life, you fight for the change that you want to see within yourself, and then if you continue to just incarcerated, they kind of follow the same path just because they have no role model to kind of help them keep them on the same path. So I would say yes, a lot of them continue like go through the path that they're individuals.
I think I agree with what Dave already said. I think it's 50-50. Like we can, see and look at true community people and like, oh yeah, that's not what I want to do. That's not where I want to go, and make that change. But sometimes also it's just kind of the cards that you're dealt with, and like, sometimes you may want to change, but you don't have the resources or you don't have that, guidance pushing you. And yeah, that's why community and is very important.
Yeah, I agree with everything that was already said before me. A couple things I feel like I could piggyback on are from the question. You say the question again?
Yeah, the question was, do you feel like kids have an incarcerated parent, are more likely to be incarcerated? And if so, why or why not?
Okay. I think there's something to do with I think the different situations are kind of saying with alcohol, if you have that in your family, you're more likely to be an alcoholic as well. I feel like this has solutions, pretty easy solutions. I feel like at the rate we're at right now, I feel like it does make people that have incarcerated parents have a higher chance. I feel like that can easily be flipped. I feel like it's not 50-50. I feel like it's more on the worsening side. Now, I feel like a solution would be community centers, having frequent events, so that people can have places where they can feel safe. I feel like people that get incarcerated have felt unsafe, so they go places which feel like it's safer. But when we don't have community centers that are open often and don't have frequent events, whether that could be clubs and stuff or basketball, things like that, I feel like it does make it easier for people to fall down that path. I've seen it multiple times. That's why I do the work that I do. So, yeah, that answered the question.
Yes, briefly on what you're saying. As someone that kind of came from a single parent household, is very difficult as being low income. I didn't have options like that. I couldn't stay after school really that much, or I couldn't participate in athletics. We couldn't afford in materials, and so definitely providing third spaces or opportunities to avoid that life, because I have a bunch of friends that grew up in a low income neighborhood who did get involved in the legal system, and I was very fortunate to have a very good club advisor who picked me up and dropped me off, and things like that.
Thank you.
Kind of piggyback real quick off that. So to piggyback off of that, you said you had a club advisor that people that care about kids, because what I realized is that the reason why I wasn't in public school is because they don't really care for the kids, especially the ones that look like me. So community centers were always places in which I felt like the people that look like me, love me and shit. Love me. So I feel like community centers with people that look like us, love like us, have our best interests at mind goes a long way. It did a lot for me. My mom put me in a lot of positions where I was around strong black men, strong men in general, of all races as well. But obviously, of course, strong black men, because that's what she wants me to be. So if we have those type of role models and stuff in the community centers that people feel safe around and stuff, it could be amazing.
To piggyback off of what he said, I was homeschooled for the same reason. It was more so the people around me weren't helping me, and so I got homeschooled from middle school up until my sophomore year, and then I got back into being homeschooled. So I'm just now getting back out there. I would say I think we need a lot more people who care about youth inside the school system, and community centers would most definitely help.
So if I can echo something back that I think I just heard at the end, is that you want to see more representation of what you look like and people that have some maybe similar lived or cultural experiences in your communities and possibly in the community centers and schools? Okay. I have a question about the community centers. Are they free?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, most community centers are free for youth and adults, especially when it comes to like sports and things like that. We usually have gyms where kids can play and like do things like that. The one that best represents that is Community Center. Community staff is black, and they provide snacks and things for the kids who come in and do their sports and different activities.
Amazing. Thank you so much. This is a big question. How has race and class shaped how you and your family have been treated by the system and others? Anybody can ask. Everybody doesn't have to answer. Everybody doesn't have to answer, but everybody can answer. This is your time. Now I can ask a question again. Let me ask a
I mean, I could say something. It's old though. Like I didn't experience it. Okay. So I was talking to my dad like late nights, and he just started rambling. But I do remember this, and you sparked it in me from what you just said. Is so like basically in Florida, we would have like so much land if you knew about like a certain thing. I forgot, but basically they're doing like an insurance type of thing, and they had like white salesmen that would go into like those areas that black people didn't really know about how to like preserve their land, preserve wealth. They're not gonna tell us that, but yeah, basically they did something, and then like it was super undervalued, and they didn't know how to maintain it. So that's kind of like how the system plays the whole family, and now like it's just like you only have like 2 houses over there in Florida, when it could have been like 8 houses. Yeah, that's like how the system is their knowledge. Yeah.
Does anybody else want to speak on how race or class may have shaped you or your family's experiences?
I think that, yeah, I think it plays a huge part. I would say like in the school system, people kind of like just hiding certain things from us, such as knowledge and things. And like, yeah, I think knowledge.
Assembly Youth Voice is critical. You all have stepped up and made a lot of change in the community. The question is, how have you found your voice by engaging in advocacy? How did you find this voice that you're using right now? Did you always have it? Did somebody bring it out of you? Were you inspired, empowered, motivated?
I'll start. Before speaking and having speaking engagements and putting my voice out there, I was very shy. I didn't want to be on stage. I didn't even want to be seen, recorded. I was in the back doing the recording. And I was in this program, Progress Pushers.
Awesome.
They, pushed me to start writing actually, and like performing and speaking and all this other stuff. And that's kind of where I started at, and realizing that yes, our voices are important and we deserve to be heard, and we have a lot of things to say, and we have to be the ones to say it.
I also started in the same program with Progress Pushers, and I think just watching Eddie start his program, watching my mom always be a part of the community, watching when my uncle got out, how he started helping in the community, seeing all my family members doing stuff, and then being a part of Progress Pushers, I think that really helped push me to really get into the community work. And then once I got into it, I loved it. I loved doing meals like this. I loved going to the events and stuff that are held between the community organizations and stuff like that. And I think just realizing that, like, yeah, the youth voices need to be heard if the change for the youth is going to be made. used to help my mom with Freedom Project, Franklin, and other projects over there, I was like more so quiet. I think now I understand that I don't have to suppress myself and that I can be myself and talk up and not be scared of being a part of the project.
Yeah, for me, like my parents, I couldn't look for kind of like that mentorship or that, like leader in my household just because my parents are trying to survive, different country, no one nearby, different language. And so I look externally, and I found that through, nonprofits and through clubs at my high school. For these leaders like Portia, helping me, talk to legislators and letting me know that my voice matters. Because I was like growing up, whenever I would talk, people didn't know what I was saying. And so I just stopped talking. And then helping, rediscover my voice and the power that I think is immensely helpful. And I just want to talk about a really weird experience with talking to a legislator. I was here 2 or 3 weeks ago to advocate for to restore funding for low income students. And there's this legislator who just looked at me, smiled, and laughed at my face. And I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I was just like, okay. And then he was like, yeah, it's a tough budget season. And I was like, I know. So yeah, I thought it was weird. Besides that, sometimes people are nice. I'm just glad that I got to experience that as someone who's been doing this for a couple years, and not someone who this was my first year.
Well, thank you, Diego, because that actually leads to the second part of the question. So, for those of you that have found your voice through advocacy, if you've talked to legislators before, what was your experience like? Has anybody else in the panel spoke to legislators before? It's okay if you have.
I don't know if it's considered legislative. We have someone who we were running for, I believe it was governor of King County, and we spoke to people who were running for people to show up. And speaking to them, it was different because one was white and one was black, so one was more focused on what the black community needed, and the other one was focused on what she would say the whole community, but it mainly, you could tell that it was mainly focused towards people of a higher class almost, because it's like if you're not a certain wealth, then you're not as important as the 1% or the top dogs essentially. So it was speaking to both of them, it was an experience that I enjoyed because I got to see perspectives from people who do have a lot of power within Washington State, and seeing how they react to different situations that we just kind of made up as an example for them to respond to. So I would say that's how it was interesting seeing that, and usually in talking to them it felt like I was getting more around the community and how people who have so much power would respond to people who look like us.
Can I follow up a question to that? Did you feel heard?
I felt heard when it came to situations that I have experienced. Like, for example, the school that I just transferred from, it was heavy in drug use within outside and inside the school. It was on King Street in the International District. And she reached out to me and was like, she's trying to figure out if she can make the school location move. And then when I talked to the other lady about it, she was like, we'll have somebody talk to you. And it wasn't really you could tell that it wasn't really one of her top priorities, but it should be because it's youth, and at the end of the day, youth needs to be a top priority if they're going to be able to run the world someday.
Well, that's right. I had to ask because I think there's a lot of performing that goes on in our communities and on platforms, and we herd in youth and we act like we listen to them, and then we don't follow up with any action steps or actually let you all be empowered and lead with your own advocacy. We're constantly trying to micromanage or take credit for that, and so I'm just honored that you all are up here speaking your truth right now today. It means a lot. It means a lot to this community. It means a lot to future legislation change. It means a lot to just who you are as individuals. We're going to close out with just a couple of questions from the audience so we can stay on task for the lunch and learn and for the attorney to ask a lawyer. Is that okay? All right, so let's if they're comfortable, are y'all okay with open question in the back?
What do you think the steps are to provide community centers for the youth?
Yeah, maybe we can, I'll take the mic,
Okay,
This one's gonna go.
sorry.
Check, it's working. Who was speaking back? I'm sorry. All the way to the back.